Welcome to Simply Caroline, a podcast dedicated to women empowerment where we will discuss a bunch of different subjects such as life, parenting, love, business, money, relationships, healing, recovery, addiction, entrepreneurship, and so much more. A podcast I'll do my best to keep simple, fun, and relatable and bring you tools to help you better your life. So thank you for being here. And here's your host, myself, Caroline Blanchard. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for being with us again this week. This week, I have such a special person. And, I absolutely love this lady. Before going any further, Elaine White, how are you?
I'm so great. Thank you. I'm excited to be on today so much, Carolyn.
Yeah, there's so much I want to say about you. So easier to say your name first and then we'll say the rest after. So I met Elaine through business, but we became kind of friends. And then one day she contacted me saying, you know what, I have this crazy idea, a book I would like to do. And we're now 6 months later?
6 months exactly.
6 months exactly. And Elaine White is launching her very first book actually tonight. And we're going to give you all the details on how to get it. But our book is Family by Choice. And I will let Elaine talk about what's that book.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm probably going to get emotional because it's a very emotional book to me and actually to the 12 families that shared in it. So what the book is it is 12 families, everyday people that in their very unique, very heartfelt way, share their adoption journey. It is hilarious. It's just, laugh and cry. It's their true life story about adoption.
Yes. And I had the privilege of reading that book. And yes, you will laugh. And yes, have your Kleenex box ready. Because it's not only people adopting in the book. You're really going and touching a bunch of different perspectives from adoption. So talk to us a bit about that.
Well, what I wanted to do was, the concept of the book, I'm going to just back up a little bit because it is way more than adoption stories, although that is the backdrop. The backdrop is every perspective of adoption. But the reason that I really wanted to write the book and share the stories is because in today's world, coming off a pandemic and just the news, whether I don't care what side of the political fence you're on or whatever, just with violence, I just thought, oh my goodness, does the world need some joy, some happiness, some faith that there's good people in the world and miracles happen and just that. And I thought, yes, it does. And, we just need some good news. And so I thought, how can I express that in the world today? And of course, I have familiar because we adopted our daughter 20 years ago and brought her home exactly 20 years ago today. I thought, well, why don't I use that as the backdrop to give hope to everyone, because you can just mirror this to other areas of life. So when I collected, now I happen to have really great friends. Like, can you imagine that these are like actual friends of mine that's in this book? So it's myself and 11 other families. And it's a birth mother. It's the adoptee herself that's now 50. It's, every perspective of adoption. So the stories, I think, are so uniquely, and they're told in their voice. So they're so unique circumstances. Some are written very seriously, some are written comically. It's like 12 little books.
Yes.
Like 12 books.
Mm-hmm. And what I love about that is, before chatting with you about that, I wasn't super familiar with adoption. I knew what the average person knows about adoption, but we don't really know, all the emotion that is going in it, not just like raising the child after, but everything that leads up to adopting. And I like how it's written in that book because it doesn't go with necessarily the facts or the figures. It really goes with the emotion that was involved into going through the decision to adopt, and then the adoption itself. And I promise you, when they finally get their baby, you will have tears. You're like, oh my gosh, because the authors, and it's hard to think that they're actually not regular writers, because they really bring you through, their string of emotions to get there. And, I don't want to give anything in the book because you need to read it. But it really comes from fathers, from mothers. It's different perspective, and it's really emotional. So Elaine, talk to us a bit about your story and how you met your beautiful daughter, Elizabeth.
Well, this is crazy because my husband and I were not in the market to start a family. You don't normally start a family at 46 and 49 years old. So we were later in life. And we had tried earlier, 5 years prior, decided we had some failed attempts and decided, we're just going to do the professional route. We had a fabulous life, literally. And I don't know how to say it any other way than I got a knock on the head, just a huge bang from up above that said, you have a daughter in China. And from there, you know what? I had never been spoken to like that. I had never heard a word like that, like a message. And so the story is kind of like, what do you do when you hear that? What do you really do? What do you follow? How does that play out? How do you tell your husband you have a daughter in China? So it's really following your intuition, your path, the voice that you heard, which was not your own. And the story that entails with that is my story. And it is the name of my chapter, I'll just tell you, is A Match Made in Heaven. And it clearly, there's no doubt, we weren't even looking to do this. And so it wasn't our idea.
Yes, it is a match made in heaven. And it's, I know you as a person, and you are a person that has, you're very strong in your faith, and you work like that a lot, going with your gut and your feelings and listening to what you're being told. Talk to us a bit about that, because I think that applies, it brought you the best thing in your life, but it also applies to every little, how can I say that, situation in our lives. Like if we would listen and if we would really have faith, sometimes, or most of the time, it actually brings us to where we need to be. So guide us a bit in there.
I love that you've asked me this, because I will tell you, I do meditation, and I'm in the morning that April 26th, when I decided to do this book, I was literally thinking, what can I do to bring happiness, to do what can be my little tiny contribution to the world. And when you ask that question to, the infinite mind, you can call it God, you can call it whatever you call it, but there is your subconscious, your conscious, and then there's the infinite mind, right? The land of solutions, they call it. That's what Einstein called it. So I was in the land of solutions during my meditation, and the word came, share the stories. Share the stories was the answer, right? So when I said, what could I do? And so when you ask questions, I've heard it said, and I believe it's true, the quality of your life is based on the questions that you ask. And so I asked the question, what can I do? And the answer that was given to me was share the stories. Well, the only stories I really know that are that profound are these stories. And so this was another guidance. I mean, so if you ask the questions and listen, and they may not come immediately, but you'll see a sign, you'll see something that is the answer to your prayer, to your quest, to your desire. It comes to you in signs, if not like right then. So you got to be constantly in tune and in harmony, I believe, to get those answers.
And also have faith in what you hear and not question everything, right?
And truly, I mean, like, I could have thought that's crazy. I mean, but you got to follow it. I mean, like when I say it's God, it's the universe, it's the source, whatever it is for you, knows more than you do. I'm just the tree in the forest. They see the whole planet. So he, she, whatever, I don't want to offend anybody, but like, you've got to listen and follow, because if you have faith, and I have huge faith.
No, and you know what? It's like, I think I sent you that by text, like, oh my gosh, like who wouldn't want to have your life? And I'm not talking about the fact that you're extremely successful in your business and etc. Like that aside, you are so successful in family life as well. You have a lot of close people to you. You have a lot of beautiful friendships that you've developed. And I think it's because you apply this passion into everything you do. So you are genuinely happy. And you know what? Sometimes we look at people like you and we're like, no, that's not possible. You can't be this happy, because we are the average human here thinking like there has to be problems. But that's not your case.
No, I'm very, I always feel like I have bubbles, like effervescence in my tummy. I just like I'm a walking bottle of champagne. I feel very, I have happiness in me, because my license plate is live happy, by the way.
Nice.
So it's like, I gave it to somebody the other day. I was parking at a hotel and they're like, what's your license plate? I'm like, live happy, LIVL, HPY. And they're like, that's your license plate? Yep. Because I really think that happiness is a choice for all of us. I do follow Live Happy. Live Happy Now is a podcast as well that I love. And it's just a part of, I don't know, your life, if you choose it to be, I guess.
So tell us, like, without, I don't want to dig too much, but was it always like that, or it's a decision that you made at some point in your life to say, I'm choosing the path of happiness?
This is going to be a little embarrassing, but it's always been like this. I mean, honestly, as long as I can remember, it's almost to the fact of naivete that I didn't know better to be sad or to think someone didn't like me. I mean, I was 21 years old before it ever crossed my mind someone didn't like me.
Well, that's good.
It didn't cross my mind. I didn't even know there was because my parents, somehow they raised me with a great deal of confidence. I was the youngest of four, and it never occurred to me. It just, I don't know why. I guess it was naivete. I was living in a little bubble.
No, but I think there are personalities that are genuinely, since childhood, happier. And there's also the way you're raised. And there's also the way, there's naturally some people choose to look at the positive side, like the glass half empty or half full. I feel like this is almost genetic, and then you need to work on it. So no, don't be embarrassed. It's like, it's refreshing to know that there's actually people like that. And, you are so inspiring, because, I've known you for a while now, and you are truly happy, and it feels good, because I think that as humans, we're so used to looking at the negative that we don't understand when there's no negative. And I find it so cute that, it took you 21 years to realize someone could not like you. So no, don't be embarrassed, be happy. And what I love about you as well is that you're spreading the joy everywhere you go in everything you do. And that brings us back to this book, that you did it really to share, because whether, like I said before, whether we are on the path of adoption or not, it's a feel-good book.
It is a feel-good book. And I will say it, during that same time, I was 21, I was living in Boston. And I really believe at that point, my life purpose is not profound. It's not big. It's not anything like anybody would even call worthy necessarily, but it is to spread joy and to bring joy to others. That really is, as simple as that sounds. I even learned that in Boston when I was 21. So, this is part of that. I mean, this to me means more than you can possibly, this book means so much, because I really do believe it's my one little legacy. I mean, I never thought producing a book would mean so much, but if anybody's out there thinking about doing it, first you should hire Carolyn to be your editor and publisher and collaborator, because she's awesome. I could never have done this without you. And, but secondly, it is so rewarding to see your name on something that's going to be here long after you go. Like, I didn't birth my daughter. Obviously, I didn't make anything in this world to leave my name on. She doesn't even have my name. I kept my name. My husband has his name. So this has got my name on it. It's staying in the world long after I'm gone, about something I'm passionate about. So if anybody is ever considering doing a book, writing a book, oh my gosh, do it. It is just the most, and it came on my birthday.
Yeah. And imagine,
arrived on my 66th birthday. So I'm so excited.
Yes. And imagine Elizabeth's grandkids will read that book. Like when you think about that, it's like crazy. And I'm like you, books are a richness for me because it's something that stays. And I do believe that a lot of things will go. And yes, we do have like the electronic books and all of this. I should say the ebooks, but I do believe books will always stay. Paper will always stay because there is a value in that, you know, you can't find anywhere else. So I know that Elizabeth hasn't read the book yet, but what was her reaction to you launching this book, or even like creating this book, I should say, because it's launching tonight. So
Right. Well, she is, she'll be 21 in December. So she's, older now, obviously. It's 20 years today that we brought her home. And, she supports, like, she and my husband are so incredibly supportive. And I have like wild ideas. I'm always doing something a little crazy, you know, whatever it is. And so she fully supported. She loves it. I mean, like, she's honored. I mean, she didn't even want to read our chapter till she saw the whole thing. I mean, like, to me, she's very patient, and you'll hear she's just a wise, centered young woman. And she knows it's about her, and she didn't even want to read it. She didn't look at the pictures. She was like, I want to see it all in completion, because she's really proud. I mean, she's, you know, she is proud, and she knows it'll be a legacy. She wants to have a family, of course, someday. And, it'll be, like you say, her daughter, her daughter's daughter, and her daughter's son, whatever, all her generations to come, not only for Elizabeth, but she's got, you know, 2 families in here that were part of her adoption. So it's just pretty incredible for her and all the families, actually.
It's really cool how for the past 19 years, I believe you guys have been meeting every single summer.
Yeah.
And spend holidays together. Like, I can't even do that with my own family. At some point, there's always someone like branching out and leaving. And then, you know, eventually it fades. So that in itself, I'm super impressed. But talk to us a little bit about that, because it must be so special to watch, you know, the story unfold in real time.
Well, it's really, so we adopted with 2 of the families in the book, and it was 20 years ago. As I say, we came home today, but we became friends prior to going to China to get our girls. And when you form those friendships in the US and then go through that process and remain friends for the last 20 years and vacation together for 18 of those years, 3,000 miles apart. I mean, we traveled to get there, to be together, and we talk almost every day, still to this day. We are like family. And what's crazy sometimes, I think, is any of those girls could have been mine. And my daughter, Elizabeth, could have been either one of their family's daughter. It was just, you know, it was God matching us, but he could have easily done it the other way. So we love them like our own. I mean, we love these girls as if because they are. I mean, we've known them since birth practically. So we do, we have an amazing connection with 2 of those families that the girls will have forever. And they're just really glad we're not dressing them alike anymore. It was obnoxious. It was obnoxious.
You will see a part of that in the book. Yes, I was laughing my head off because I was like, poor kids.
Yes.
You know, only mothers think it's cute when you do that, dress kids the same way, same color. And especially when they're 8, 9, they're like, can I please have my personality?
Exactly. Can I be my own self? And we were on a very non-diverse beach. So it was a lot of, I think they were the 3 and then soon to be 4 Chinese girls that were all dressed. They looked different than everybody else anyway. And then we dressed them all alike, which looked even crazier. So it was a little.
Well, it's cute that we laugh about it now. And, you know, it was all done in good intentions. So, but that's another part of the book that I really loved. It's, you know, I feel like when I read it, it was like, you call them the Chinese sisters, but they do have sisters, even if they were adopted, which is a very unique situation because you can have new siblings in your new family, because some of these families already had biological kids and then adopted another one. So they became siblings. But I mean, they come from the exact same background place. They were basically crib roommates, you know, before it all happened. So they will be bond for
Oh,
life
forever.
forever, and you guys on top of that kept it. And I think that this is so precious, and those girls are so lucky that they have, I want to say landed in your family, but that's probably my French not finding the right word. But I mean that the match was made this way because, they're lucky. They're lucky. They found love. They found unity. They found extended families. So, but let's talk a bit about, the other side of adoption. And not that I want to see, I don't want to point out anything dark here, but there is the other side that people will think like, well, yeah, but a mother has to give up her child for a child to be able to be adopted. And I feel like in this book, it is so honored. And, you have great respect and you show it. So talk to us a bit about that.
Well, honestly, the birth mother is where it all starts. I mean, without her love, her deepest love to give up her child, that to me, I mean, honestly, none of this would have happened without the birth mothers and their act of love and to give the child the life that they can't, is incredible. In China, it was a one child rule. And if you ever read the book, The Lost Daughters of China, it's just heartbreaking. An interesting book. They actually used to drown the girls. It's very sad. Because it was they didn't have the adoption set up, and they only could have one child. So how they take care of themselves. Elizabeth's mother was clearly a very healthy woman. I mean, she took care of herself during pregnancy. There's no question. I mean, Elizabeth's never had a cavity. She's never been sick. I mean, like literally she's never been thrown up. So her mother her birth mother had been super healthy. So I give so much credit, not only to Elizabeth's birth mother, and I think about her, I pray for her all the time, but every single one of us in that book, other than the birth mother, it's her chapter, could not have our story without the person who starts the chain. And so my respect, my love, my honor, my prayers go to what kicks it all off is a mother loving her child enough to let somebody else raise it.
And I think that's what really, for me, that was the first Kleenex I pulled out. It's because I'm a mother too. And quite often when you think about adoption, and again, I'm like, I will put myself in the category of like ignorance with adoption because I just know whatever I heard. I've never dug into it. I've never searched it. So in my mind, it was just like, wow, how can you give up your child? And then reading that book, I'm like, wow, she was so full, like she loved her child so much that she chose to, give it a better life. So this is more than love. This is like, anyway, my whole perspective changed and I really don't see it the same anymore. Because I guess I wasn't educated on it. And now I really read something profound because especially, Kayla's story explaining what brought her to that decision, it's like, gave me such a greater amount of respect and love for them because they chose their kids' success in life, or health in life and all of that over what they wanted. So you have to read this book, I'm telling you. And I need to stop talking about it because I'm going to give away too much. But so Elaine, what would you want to leave the listener with into, talking about adoption and talking about the book?
Well, I guess I would just leave with the idea that it is about adoption. And if you don't know, again, Caroline, you said it well, it's really about the process of deciding you're going to adopt. How do you make that decision? What brought you to that decision? It's not always a lack of of fertility. There's lots of reasons why people choose adoption, which people don't think of that. But as emotional as a pregnancy is for 9 months, sometimes this gestation period is up to 3 years sometimes while you're waiting. And so like understanding what people go through and the support and the love they get from their families it's again, it gives you faith in humanity. It gives you, it fills your heart that there's good people in the world, not just the people in the stories, but all the people that played a role in their life during and after the process. So if you just ever feel like gosh, I want to read something. I want to read something that warms my heart. I want just to restore in faith. I want to believe in miracles again. I want to look for them in my life. This is the book for you.
Yeah. And you're right. And I will come back on one thing you said here, talking about, the reason to adopt. It's true that we always link that to infertility or whatever, but there's different reasons in the book. And that too was so eye-opening. Like I was even like, should I adopt a kid? I should go there. But the other thing was seeing your waiting period. You guys all had different waiting period, but I am such an impatient person. I would have gone crazy, waiting for 2 years, 2.5 years. And then they send you this little 4 centimeter by 4 centimeter picture, and it's the only thing you have. And I love how you said you blew up yours like so big, just talk a little bit about that, because basically that would be like, when a woman is pregnant, when we get the ultrasound picture that we can't even see where the baby is in it, but we try to look and we're like, yeah, it's coming.
I see it.
Yeah. So it was a little picture of Elizabeth that was tiny.
It was tiny. It was like the size of a postage stamp. And I made hundreds of copies. I mean, I don't know what, everybody made copies. We were giving them out like they were, Christmas cards, and we made copies of them. I blew it literally to a poster size because it was blurry as it could be, but I did it anyway. And we stared at it. That's all we had. We had waited, 20 months at that point, 22 months. And so we were like, oh my God, this is all we had. And then we got medical report, but it was all in Chinese. I worked with Chinese people at the time, so they translated it for me. So eventually the agency would have, but so we just had the little picture and we just went on that and we just loved on it, looked at it. And it's so funny. I look at it today. We still have it in several rooms in the house, and she looks exactly like that. She still looks like that.
Yeah. And she's so gorgeous. Oh my goodness. And it's funny because I was looking at her in a picture and I'm like, she looks like you.
Oh,
am I the only one who ever said that?
No, you are the only one that's ever said that.
No, but she has I don't know if it's the same mannerism or whatever, but she fits in your family. She
fits in our family. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, she is so literally, I'll never forget. She was this is not in the book, but I will say she went to Montessori for before kindergarten. She spent a couple hours in Montessori a week, and I was giving her teacher a gift. I gave her a Chinese cookbook, and I said to my friend, do you think she'll get it? Do you think she knows Em's Chinese? And she was like, well, yeah, everybody knows she's Chinese. Because I literally did not think the teacher would know she was Asian.
That's so funny. And you know what? Story. This is not in the book, but I'm going to ask, did Elizabeth ever visit China?
We have not gone back. No, we haven't gone back.
But I'm sure that she did learn a lot about her roots and, everything.
She did. And and on Gotcha Day, we kind of go kind of through the traditions and all. But I will say we did take, Chinese together, she and I, when she was little. We took Chinese and we didn't stick with it, but we also took karate. We took, she took karate, violin, yes, everything that there was to take, dance, soccer, lacrosse, every single thing. So Chinese was just one of the things, but. So she feels very Americanized. She is proud to be Asian and is very, very aware that she's Asian and kind of uses it in a comical way. But she feels extremely Americanized because
she was, and it's good for her.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say? Yeah, just tell people, what's your gotcha date? I get it because I read the book.
Oh, right.
But what's your gotcha date?
Oh, sorry. So gotcha date is the day we got gotcha. So ours is October 30th. It's coming up. It'll be 20 years. Oh, it was just happened. Excuse me. Just like 9 days ago, 10 days ago. So we celebrated our 20th gotcha day. So that is the day when and some people call it your Forever Family Day, but most people call it your gotcha day. And it's bigger than your birthday. It's bigger than Christmas. It's bigger than anything because, well, to me, that's the happiest day of my life was the day we got her. So gotcha day is
that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Well, Elaine White, thank you so much for coming on. And, I could chat with you all day because now we're talking about one subject, and I know you have other crazy ideas.
Oh, I do. Oh, I do.
Want to share anything, or it's going to be for another podcast?
It's for another podcast, another day, another time.
Okay, perfect. But I can assure you that the projects of Elaine White will put a smile on your face. I feel like you should have been a TV host or something like that, like to spread this energy and happiness that you have, but you're doing it in your own way. But yeah, every project you will have, just go for it. Get it, follow it. You can follow Elaine on Instagram and get her book, Family by Choice, coming out tonight. Well, actually, it's probably on right now because it's launching officially. The gala is tonight, and I'm going to put the information with the podcast. But the book is launching today. So go get it. It's on Amazon, Family by Choice by Elaine White, and you won't be disappointed. And if you have any questions or comments, please write to me, info@simplycaroline.com. If you want to follow Elaine on Instagram, what's your Instagram?
Smile with Elaine, I think. Smile. I got to find it.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not the biggest Instagram person. I'm going to become bigger on it and more engaged, but it's a Smile with Elaine. Yes.
Exactly.
And I just want to say happy World Adoptions Day. Today is actually World Adoption Day. And we really wanted to do this launch today in honor of that, in honor of a lot of things. But it is for all the people around the world that have been touched in any way. This day honors you and that. And this is why we wanted to launch this book today. So happy World Adoption Day to all those that are touched by adoption.
Thank you so much, Elaine. And to everyone, thank you for being here. And I will see you next week.
Thank you,
Bye.
Caroline.